All right. Well, I guess there's not many people, so I guess I'll just go. It started out really slow for me. I mean, I'm still on a demo account, but like for each call that I've kept getting on with y'all, it started to slowly show more small profits, but that's better than negative every time.
Right, for sure. Little progress here and there. What is something you've been having trouble with?
At first it was actually marking up the charts because like I would think that I kind of got the gist of it, you know, thought I was in the right trend. Then once I actually submitted the trade, it in my eyes looked like I completely got it wrong.
Okay. So you want to go over like some chart markup?
Yeah.
Okay. So as far as like marking up charts, what do you know?
What time I was able to do with Jacob, you know Jacob Gabbard. But I try to get on calls with him every once in a while, and I understand like the basic concepts of it, but I haven't been trading for about 5-6 months. Life just got super hectic, and so I just am trying to go back to the basics.
Okay. Well, let's pull up a chart. So what pair do you like?
The one that I've just naturally practiced on the most was just Euro USD.
Euro USD? Cool. So I like to start, you know, with a clean chart. I even like to take off my MAs, just like hide them for, you know. Do you know about moving averages or no?
A little bit.
Okay. So moving averages are an indicator that, you know, we use to kind of see the overall trend in the market, especially on the higher time frames. Moving averages can tell a lot of story. Basically, it is the average of the last amount of candles that you have the moving average set to. So like if you have your average direction of the candles. So these are the two moving averages that I use personally. My MA is set to 18. If you want to go ahead and put that on your chart. And then my EMA is set to 8. So my MA is going to be red and my EMA is going to be blue. So if you just want to like have that marked down on your notes, I would mark that down in case, you know, you accidentally delete your chart or whatever. So MA is 18 and it's red. So everybody get that. MA 18 red. EMA is going to be 8 and it's going to be blue. And I mean, you can change the style to make them thicker or thinner, whatever is easier for you to see on your charts. I have them set to the second thickness in the style option, but you're more than welcome to set them however you want. I feel like the first one is kind of hard to see. So right now I'm rocking with the red and blue candles. I typically do blue and white, but since I've been teaching, I just went back to red and blue just because it's easier for people to understand. So first things first, I'm gonna start at a high time frame. So I'm gonna go to like the monthly and see what the direction, you know, what's happening with the market, where the high point is, where the low point is, you know, and just be aware of that area. So right off the bat, I see where we made a resistance. Now, I don't know if you remember resistance and support. Bullish, bearish is going to be resistance, and bearish, bullish is going to be support. So I'm just marking where we first came down and made support right here on this monthly. And price has kind of respected that area. Haven't really seen a lot of momentum break. It's like a 380 pip zone though. So I'll mark those sometimes just to have them there. Sometimes it can make your chart messy, but it's good to be aware of where those points are, just because you know that price before has reached that level. So that's first thing. Like, mark out your higher time frame support and resistance to know where those areas are. And what's cool about the moving averages is we can actually see our moving averages crossed. So when your moving averages are blue over red and you see how these candles are using it as support, that is just indicating an uptrend. So you had your MA cross, then you had them being used as support. And basically everything was going into an uptrend until we had this area here. We had a little support being broken. So see here how we have red, blue, and it got broken. Once that was broken, came down, break here, we had a MA cross. So this MA cross is signifying that the overall direction on the higher time frames is bearish. So we have an MA cross, but that's just stuff that you want to be aware of. Like, it's not gonna matter all the time, but you need to be aware of higher time frame structure, because even when you're on lower time frames catching moves, you don't want to be caught in a certain bias and then, you know, not realize the higher time frame is, you know, you're at a resistance on a higher time frame, or you're like really have a strong buy bias, but you're at a support on a higher time frame. You know, like you want to be sure to know where you're at in structure. So let's go down to the weekly, get some more data. So EU has been really interesting. We've been having a lot of just weird stuff happening in the market with like the DXY. We had that government shutdown that like kind of like was affecting things as well. But I'm gonna draw a fib on this weekly to see where we're at. So I have my Fibonacci retracement over here, and I'm gonna go from a high point, which is right here, this blue wick here. Actually, I want to do it from the red candle. So you want it from your bearish. So you want to do bearish to bearish if you're measuring a downward movement. And I'm just going to see how these moving averages, how the moving averages acted versus the fib levels. So go down, come up. We reached a 23.6. Keep dragging your fib as price happens. All right, we had a 38.2 tap here. So this 38.2 tap happened. So we know that 38.2 is like a price reversal zone. That's a PRZ level. So we had a tap at the weekly. I'm gonna get my ellipse out and just mark that little tap out right there. And if something don't make sense, feel free to speak up. I'm just going along. So here we go. We had I'm gonna mark out our A and B points as well. We had our A point for our fib right here. This wick, this red wick. Let's make those green. And our B point was right here. The reason we dragged our fib down is because we only made a 23.6 here. So we just dragged it down to the next level, the next tested area. So we had bearish, bullish. So I made a support. So we dragged it down. So now we're at an interesting area. So we came down. We're using the 0% as support. We're not really seeing any strong break to the downside right now. So this is the weekly time frame though. So you just want to be, like I said, be aware of where you're at. Because you could place an entry off of a weekly time frame for like a swing, but you have to understand like where the mess up room is, right? So if you're low, if it's wick down here before and you place an entry to try to catch, even like you think it's going to retest the level one more time, there's a lot of pips in between that zone. Like, you're talking like a 288 pip area. So that's why we always like to find our entries on the lower time frames. We like to get better entries than that. So we see our weekly structure. Then respect this 38.2. Came down using the 0% as support. So let's go to the daily and get some more data. So the daily is telling us a little bit more. Find where your breaks are. Find where consolidation broke down. Be aware of that. We had consolidation up here. We have our support here. Drag it into the future. Respect, 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 break. Okay. So ever since it broke, it's just been going down. So we can look at our fib from the break. So from this bearish area down. See how we had a 38.2 tap? Just barely a tap. And then we came down and we almost hit our negative 27 right on the money. So we almost hit it right on the money. So now you can do your fib again from here, from your 38.2 point down. And we can see that price came out. To the, what level? 38.2. Reacted, came down, hit the negative 27. So that's awesome. That was like, that's a move you could have caught even though you missed all this. So this is just back testing. What we're doing is back testing right now so we can have an idea of where the market direction's going. So we're just back testing. All right. So all this is just like choppy consolidation. Boom, 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 boom. Let's get to relevant price data. So we have our MA crossed. MAs are crossed, going down. The MAs are being wicked off of, but they are getting closer together. So with this, we can do a fib again. we could potentially see, based on this daily fib, we could potentially see price come down to this area here to make a new low. Which, you know, could be a possibility. I mean, like the dollar could get strong and put EU low. But I mean, this is a possibility. Or we could see a potential, like some type of like price manipulation to push price up to the 61.8 tap, like just a big like manipulation push up, and then to go down to new lows, even maybe like way low. We're in a kind of like a hairy area of the market. We just have all this like indecision in the market right here. But the wicks are more to the upside than the downside. So I go to the 4 hour. Now this is where it gets interesting on the 4 hour. Because you do have kind of an uptrend forming. You just want to make sure that it's actually broke a higher low, which technically a valid higher low you should measure with a fib. So we go from our A point to our B point. So our high to our low, the bearish to bearish on this downtrend. So technically this isn't a higher low. It's a 23.6. We just barely made our first higher low here. So some people may think that this is like break momentum to the upside. But really on the 4 hour, we've made our first higher low just now. So we came down. Price has been going down. And we're in this choppy consolidation. So we came down, made our higher low. Everything's being respected on this 0%. Like it's just being respected. Now we made our valid 38.2. So we did get a super bearish engulfing close too. After 2 taps of the 38.2 on the 4 hour. We had 1, 2 taps. All right. We had push down. Then we had like pulling back. And then we had an engulfing. This 4 hour engulfing is special to me because it's right there after the PRZ level. So, and that was at market close. And we have an MA cross to the downside right here, the red over the blue. So I'm strongly biasing this next week, personally. If we don't see any manipulation up here and we see this play out, we could see a new low for EU. That's just me personally, though. I mean, that's just what I'm seeing. So we can break this down farther. We can go down to like the 1 hour. And we can see if anything has broken to an uptrend on this lower time frame. So you see how like marking up isn't just as simple as like just throwing a couple of things down there. If you want to get deep into like technical analysis and like structure and want to form like some type of an opinion, you got to do your research. Like you got to do your research on what price is doing. You got to find like your valid points. So we had a higher low. So it's reacting off the 50%. And that's if you can, if you include that like manipulation weight. I'll probably just include this right here, this data here. So we have 50%. So on the 1 hour, we have it going up to the 50%. You could potentially see this as, and this is where it's going to come down to your own judgment, because all this is speculative. And that's if you count this as a 38.2, it's almost there. It's really close. If you count that as if you count this as a valid higher low, then this is a break. It broke, consolidation, retest. So you could see potentially, you could see it come up to the higher levels of the fib on the higher time frame. I just think overall the EU is going down. That's just what I like, my bias on it. Because overall the higher time frames are just telling that story. These lower time frames are super choppy, but that's super. That's my super like personal opinion on EU. I hope some of that made sense. Like I know I might have kind of like rambled for a little bit, but you know, you can just kind of see how these zones are on these higher time frames where they're at. You know, like you have this previous area of support here, so price could easily retest that area. And sometimes with price, like areas that it looks like it could do that, even though it's like way down here, you could just see like a quick like price manipulation wick just to touch this area and just to like kill everybody's stop losses and then just take people out of the market. So, and then go in the direction that you are expecting it to go. Always pay attention to those like key levels. So, who's still here on the chat?
I'm still here.
Cool. So does that make some more sense, Nick? Like, do you kind of see like what you can do on the charts, like how you can like use fibs and like mark up and pay attention to the PRZ levels and stuff like that?
Yeah, and so whenever you were doing the fib tracement, you know, did you start it on the wick or the top of the body whenever you're tracing that out?
When I'm doing like a fib,
yeah,
I always do it from wick to wick. So like bearish wick to bearish wick.
Okay.
Yo, like look at this like 8-hour fib too. Like this is a clean. I mean, you just see all the exhaustion here, like exhaustion, tap, bullish market, tap, immediate rejection, boom, boom, boom. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, I think EU could have make a low. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I would want to see like, you know, like more of a confirmation to like get into a trade or something, but like an awesome thing to happen would be like on this 30-minute to see some type of break of this area, some like amazing like breakout, and then a test of this area on the 30-minute. Like, so something like this. Boom. Boom. And then enter there and then catch the. That'd be nice to see if it played out like that. Because you do have this support here on this consolidation, like being respected like really hard. So if you could catch the breakout of that. Or, I mean, you could honestly place a confidence entry. If you have like a bias, you want to place an entry, even if you're placing an entry to way down here, just know how many pips are up past this area. Like, so you have 40 pips up to the tip of those wicks. So, you know, just risk less. Risk less, but at least you get to execute a trade, you know? And if you're right, I mean, and you hold it, you got a lot of pips on your way. So, I mean, even if you're risking like 50 pips for 130 pips, that's almost like 3-to-1. But I think you can like wait it out and get a better entry. I think you can definitely get a better entry. What's up? How's it going? I see somebody else in the join. Some more? How's it going? Can you hear me? I'm going to be watching GJ a lot and GBP odd. That'll be the two things that I'm really into this week. I feel like we're going to get some like we're going to get some heavy duty manipulation down to this level. And then we're going to see new highs. I feel like this is one of those scenarios where we're just going to see like price manipulation, like just get to these levels. Like maybe it'll wick down or something. Like it'll just like come down, wick this area, and then shoot up. So personally, I've been in a sell on GK for a minute. I should have like got out here, but I wasn't paying attention. I have an entry like here. So shun. GJ pays a lot of pips. I was looking to go long too for GJ. Yeah. I mean, I see it going long. I just see like we're going to test these levels first. I think we're going to have to come down first. Because we haven't made any like valid retracements yet. Shake out about 143. Yeah. I see that 143. Even like this 38.2, like that would be nice. I just feel like we're gonna get wicked down. I feel like it's gonna play around here. And then everybody's placing their entries, and then it's gonna wick down. I just don't trust these manipulation wicks, stuff like this with GJ. Like you got all this manipulation, all this is manipulation. So like that's a lot of pips. That's a lot of pips. So if it smack your stop loss real quick. Me too. I saw that move yesterday. Yeah. I know some people are seeing I know some people see this pattern, like they see like a bullish flag pattern or something. But I'm looking like pure price action. I would love to see it touch the 61.8 on the higher time frame, like on a 4 hour. I mean, even the daily, like the daily has so much room to go, like for a pullback. I mean, we measured this previous pullback. We had our 38.2. And then we never had it break this area. See how we never had it break this area? On the breakdown is less than 1.7. Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I could also see this downtrend on the daily playing more of a key. We really haven't had no true like break. Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs with GJ right now. That manipulation is just so dirty. Because if you look at it from here, it's like perfect 61.8. I mean, you got like a double top. Yeah. Yeah, so GJ, I mean, it depends what bias you have. If you don't include this manipulation wick in the fib, it taps the 61.8 perfectly. So it's like, man, there's a strong level there anyways. It's definitely chilling. We'll see. You know, that's why I just see it going lower. I can see it pulling down. It really depends on your bias, though. Like, overall long term versus short term, I mean, you can make some money on the short term move. Because even a 4-hour chart, like there's money to be made on these moves. This engulfing is gnarly though. If that engulfing plays out, we're going to see some downward momentum. I'll be curious to see how the market opens tomorrow, if it's going to open high or low. And if it opened high, I'm probably going in for sales. I might scalp the gap, honestly, if it opens high. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a pretty badass sell if it plays out. But the meeting's about to end. Hopefully we can get some more people on these, get some more Q&As. Gap to the upside, I'm unloading. Chill. You didn't hear that? You didn't hear that, KJ? No, but for real, the gaps to the upside, I'm selling. I'm not even playing. Yeah, the meeting's about to end. Feel free to drop your own calls though in the chat. Like, drop a call if y'all want to just mark up together. Like, it's a community. You don't have to wait for us to do something. Like, help each other out. Like, give each other some guidance. I might be on later tonight. Drop something. But tomorrow night we have our weekly call, so we'll definitely be on tomorrow night. But appreciate y'all hopping on. Hopefully y'all got a little bit of value out of this, and just you can kind of see like there's multiple different ways like people can look at a market. So that's why you just have to risk properly and protect your account. So just because you see one thing don't mean everybody else seeing it. All right, take care.